General Sir Walter Pippin Braithwaite was the fifth of the Braithwaite brothers to attend college, joining in 1875. He left in 1881 to join Bedford Grammar School and then entered the army. He served with distinction in the Burmese expedition and later at the relief of Ladysmith during the Second Boer War. During the Great War, he served firstly as the Chief of Staff for the Mediterranean Expeditionary Force and thereafter as a divisional commander on the Western Front. After the war, he was commissioned by Field Marshal Haig to produce a report evaluating the performance of the British staff officers in all theatres of the conflict. Although the decision-making abilities of many staff officers, including Braithwaite, had been seriously questioned, his report was generally favourable. He received further promotions, becoming General Officer in India, Scotland, and Eastern Command. He achieved rank of Adjutant General to the British Forces in 1927, and in the same year became a Commissioner of the Commonwealth War Graves Committee. In 1928, Braithwaite was put in charge of organising the funeral of Field Marshal Douglas Haig. After retirement in 1931, he became a governor of the Royal Hospital in Chelsea, and he died in 1945, aged 80.
William Arthur Macrae Bruce was born in Edinburgh on the 15th of June 1890, the son of Colonel Arthur Macrae Bruce. After the family moved to Pontiac in Jersey, he joined Victoria College at age 14 in 1904. Whilst at school, Bruce was a member of the first 11 cricket team. He obviously decided to memorialise his name as he carved his name into a school table, which is in the corridor of the main building. He entered Sandhurst as a King's India cadet, and passing out in 1909 was attached for a year to the Northumberland Fusiliers and subsequently posted to the 59th Sind Rifles. He was at home on leave whilst the First World War began. Having played for the OVs against the college in July, he sailed at once for India to rejoin his regiment, but was ordered to await its arrival in Cairo. With it, he landed in France with the first part of the Indian Expeditionary Force in September 1914. Although he was killed on the 19th of December 1914, displaying courage under fire. Although wounded, he led a small raiding party to capture an enemy trench and continued to defend the trench and encourage his men for several hours until he was fatally shot. He was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously. The Victoria College now owns his Victoria Cross, and he is a dedicated chair in the Great Hall.
Alistair Malcolm Clooney Macready Dermid was the third of four sons to a Jersey-born mother. He entered Victoria College in 1904 as Alistair Mccready Drew, playing in the Cricket 11, and his name making its way onto the boards that hang in the corridor. Whilst his school reports mark him out as being not necessarily a student by inclination, he had an abiding love of the natural world. After leaving the college, his parents wished him to go to Cambridge and take holy order. Alistair wished to go abroad. The advent of the Great War altered his plans and those of his parents. He received a commission on the 17th Middlesex Regiment and would thereafter spend the rest of his war, save 4 months hospitalized in 1915 at the front. During his convalescence, he married and would have a daughter. His men found him cheery and charming, and although it was brief, he was able to meet his brothers for a few minutes as they found themselves stationed near each other in the West Front. On the 30th of November 1917, Dermid led an assault through a heavy barrage of enemy fire, eventually gaining 300 yards of territory. His grenade-throwing ability was remarked favorably. On the 1st of December, he was killed by a bomb in his trench. He was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously. The college has his sword on display and his name on a chair in the Great Hall.
Starting at Victoria College between 1883 and 1893, the Dunlop brothers are one of the school's largest contemporary families. Charles, the eldest, studied medicine in London after leaving and would later join the government railway in West Africa. He died of a fever in Lagos. Frederick left in 1896 to join the Jersey Militia and therefore after the Manchester Regiment. After seeing service at the Ladysmith in the Second Boer War, he became adjutant to the Malabar Rifles. 3 weeks after arriving in France, he was killed in action in November 1914. Walter entered the merchant service and served in the Boer War. He then spent time in mining before joining the East Surrey Regiment as a captain. He was wounded in the Great War, but survived until 1955. Julian was aide-de-camp to the Lieutenant Governor of Burma from 1899 to 1903. He joined the South Staffordshire Regiment with his brother and was sent to France. He died during an attack on a German gunpoint in 1914. Valentine moved to South Africa and joined the Natal Mounted Police after leaving college. He died of enteric fever during the siege of Ladysmith in 1900. Allen entered the Cape Civil Service, and as well as serving as magistrate in the Transvaal, he served as a lieutenant in the First World War, which he survived. Robin left college in 1898. After the Jersey Militia, he joined the British Army and later the Indian Army in 1905. He died whilst holding the position of a captain in the 27th Light Cavalry in India. Kenneth initially traveled to South America, managing a copper mine in Bolivia. He traveled from Chile to enroll at the outbreak of hostilities in 1914. He became a machine gun officer in the South Staffordshires. At the Battle of Lewes in 1915, aged 33, he was killed in action.
Son of Admiral of the Fleet, Sir George Sartorius, Reginald was schooled at Victoria College in 1855 with his two brothers, Euston and George Sartorius. Aged 32, he became a major in the Bengal Cavalry as part of the British Indian Army. He would take part in the quelling of the Indian Mutiny, the relief of Azingar, and operations in Kozia and Bhotan. He was twice mentioned in dispatches. On January 17, 1907, during the first Ashanti expedition in present-day Ghana, Major Sartorius removed, under heavy fire, a mortally wounded Hussar non-commissioned officer and placed him under cover. For this action, he was awarded the Victoria Cross. Euston, taking part in the Afghan War, was also mentioned in dispatches and rose to the rank of Major General. He won a medal from the Royal Humane Society for saving 3 girls from drowning in Kent in 1869. On the 24th of October, 1879, he led an attack on a strategic hill in Afghanistan. Despite injuries, his party took the position. For this action, he too was awarded the Victoria Cross. This made the family one of only 4 to have this award made to 2 brothers. George also served in the army in Afghanistan, Egypt, and Burma. He was a pasha in the Turkish army and a colonel in the British army. He has his claim of fame for having shot the biggest bison ever recorded.